Welcome back, everybody. We resume our discussion for today. You remember before the break, we paused the discussion on item 3 on the agenda, which is the general debate in favor of moving to the governance reform to maintain the quorum. Now we're back to item 3 on the agenda, the general debate, and we resume with the list of speakers. And I would call on the representative of the Netherlands now to say his remark.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, the Netherlands too wishes to express a warm welcome to Sweden, Mali and Montenegro. This year has seen important new elements to IDLO's work, as highlighted in the report of the Director General. On the priorities of the work of IDLO, the Netherlands welcomes the fact that programs in Africa have grown continuously to now become the biggest focus for IDLO. As the Netherlands, we embarked on a new project with IDLO in Rwanda to train Defense Counsel in genocide trials on international law. We also have a good collaboration on projects in Mali, Kenya and Somalia. IDLO is expanding its work on informal justice systems in a way that will be a helpful contribution, considering the numbers of people that resort to informal justice in many fragile and post-conflict states. The success of the work of IDLO is expanded through the effective partnerships the organization undertakes. We welcome the new partnerships with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and UN Women. IDLO is also seeking a possible MOU with IOM. This would enable it to focus on working with refugee and migrant populations, which would be another important new line of work. Then we welcome the organizational changes IDLO continues to work on. We believe the governance reforms will strengthen the organization as a whole, allowing for more diversity in the governance organs and an active role for the Board of Advisors. Secondly, we welcome that IDLO concluded work on a results-based framework and on improved project design, which we are also supporting through our project grant. New employee rules and a revised employment model will enable IDLO to strengthen its human resource base, particularly in the field. Finally, we welcome the progress toward output-based budgeting, which will increase transparency, and we encourage IDLO to keep working on issues of internal management, transparency, accountability, collaboration and governance in the years to come. Dear colleagues, in 2018, the Netherlands will take its half of the divided seat with Italy in the UN Security Council. We look forward to working with IDLO and other rule of law partners to use our time in the Council to advance the agenda of accountability and rule of law. We will also continue to rely on IDLO's expertise in advancing the agenda of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We are looking at a variety of initiatives that will seek to give an extra impulse to SDG 16 on access to justice ahead of the high-level forum in 2019. Finally, on gender equality, the Netherlands is firmly convinced that peace and prosperity and gender equality go hand in hand. Apart from our own efforts in this regard, including the important initiative of She Decides on a woman's right to make her own decisions on sexual and reproductive health, we also seek to mainstream gender issues into all our shared development cooperation initiatives. In this regard, we welcome IDLO's work on its gender strategy and are gladly supporting its implementation through a project grant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Netherlands. And the floor now is to China.
Thank you, President. China also joined other delegates to send a warm welcome of new members of Sweden, Mali, and Montenegro. Since establishment of IDLO, IDLO and China have set up many training and joint projects. IDLO, relying on its expertise and experience, made valuable contribution for improvement of rule of law among developing countries, including China. China reiterated the Belt and Road Initiative in its 19th CPC Central Party report, stating that China will actively promote international cooperation within the context of Belt and Road, create new cooperation platforms, and provide new impetus for common development. Under this context, China is willing to work with IDLO to bring our cooperation to a new level. Both sides signed an MOU in May this year. During the Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, both sides agreed that to establish a framework for cooperation to achieve common objectives and develop joint programs. This may include development of legislative framework in countries participating in the Belt and Road with the aim of promoting trade, investment, and development. After that, both sides discussed how to develop specific joint programs, including possible rule of law and sustainable development program and GPO program. China appreciates that IDLO team put a lot of efforts to the development of programs and put forward the initial proposal. China look forward that these programs could be implemented in the near future with the aim to strengthen rule of law construction in the Belt and Road and promote sustainable and inclusive economic development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, China. The floor is now to Peru.
Gracias, señor presidente. En primer lugar, queremos felicitarlo por su excelente gestión, así como a la directora general por la labor que desempeña al frente de la IDLO, la misma que es muy activa y beneficiosa para la organización. Queremos aunarnos a los saludos expresados por anteriores delegados de bienvenida a Suecia, Mali y Montenegro, y alentamos a la IDLO a continuar sus esfuerzos en aras de aumentar la membresía de la organización. Ha pasado un año desde la aprobación del Plan Estratégico 2017-2020, que ha servido como una guía innovadora y prometedora para maximizar la contribución de IDLO en atención a su mandato en la implementación de la Agenda 2030 para el Desarrollo Sostenible, particularmente en el ODS 16, mediante programas y actividades de acceso a la justicia, la equidad e inclusión. Asimismo, debemos destacar los considerables avances en la diversificación de la distribución geográfica de los programas de la organización, gracias a una cartera de trabajo que si bien se concentra ahora en África, también tiene presencia en Asia, Europa y Asia Central y América Latina especialmente. Felicitamos la exitosa finalización del programa de capacitación para la justicia de transición y el programa de apoyo al acceso a la justicia en Afganistán, y con ello la firma de nuevos programas en otros países como México, Somalia, Tanzania, entre otros. En el marco del plan estratégico, queremos resaltar el trabajo de la organización en la nueva estrategia de género que significará la elaboración de proyectos especiales para mujeres y niñas, así como la incorporación de una perspectiva de género en todos los programas de la organización. De igual manera, destacamos el trabajo y ahora la aprobación de los cambios impuestos o que se han acordado en los documentos de gobernanza de la organización. Y felicitamos la elaboración del reglamento del personal de la IDLO. A pesar de las dificultades financieras generadas a raíz de la disminución de los fondos no restringidos y que dieron lugar a considerables reducciones presupuestarias, IDLO ha logrado mantener la implementación de programas según lo previsto e incluso diversificándolos, como lo hemos visto todos. Consideramos importantes las contribuciones tradicionales recibidas y agradecemos el significativo aporte de los donantes, pero al mismo tiempo creemos que las fuentes de financiamiento deben diversificarse como ya lo ha mencionado la directora general en su presentación. Y esto debe realizarse a través de la inclusión de otros países donantes, donantes privados, cofinanciamiento de los países beneficiarios, así como a través del establecimiento de asociaciones, mayor número de asociaciones, y con las agencias establecidas en Roma, así como los programas en nuestros propios países. En ese sentido, destacamos las asociaciones con el Banco Europeo para la Reconstrucción y el Desarrollo, y el UN Women y el Gobierno de China. Queremos finalmente felicitar la iniciativa de consulta sobre las posibles asociaciones que tendrá lugar el día de mañana en esta misma sede. Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you, Piero. The Secretariat hold the list if any other member wish to comment. Jordan, please. Yes. Hold on, few. There is one member, then we will move to you. Sudan, please.
Mr. President, Madam Director General, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here to address this August Assembly, and allow me at the outset to add my voice to those who have welcomed IDLO new members, Sweden, Mali, and Montenegro, and to commend the work done by the open-ended working group on the reform of the organization for more effectiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, as we work hard to achieve peace and sustainable development, the world witnessed more conflicts, more internally displaced persons, refugees, and migrants. In such fragile situation, it is difficult to have effective rule of law, prosperity, inclusive economic growth, sustainable development, and efficient and accountable institutions to sustain peace. These issues we are here to discuss need political will and commitments, collective work and serious engagement of all countries and stakeholders. Excellencies, distinguished guests, Sudan continues its effort to achieve the rule of law, transparency, combat terrorism, money laundering, and human trafficking. The government of Sudan formed a national body to combat counter-terrorism in all its forms. In this context, my country got recognition from many effective players in the field of countering terrorism. Lately, Sudan was accredited as a member of the Global Counter-Terrorism Forum in its session held in Khartoum. Ladies and gentlemen, for building consensus and strengthening the rule of law, the President of the Republic of Sudan has called for a national comprehensive political dialogue where all political parties in the government and opposition and most of the leaders of the armed groups participated. They discussed all national issues like identity, freedom, and fundamental rights, peace and unity, economy, foreign relation, and governance issue. The discussion has resulted in a national document, and accordingly, a national unity government was formed and the Prime Minister was elected. Now all political parties are preparing themselves for the general election to be held in 2020. Another significant step meant to achieve peace in Sudan is the campaign to collect illegal weapon acquisition in all states, especially Darfur, South Kordofan, and Blue Nile. In this regard, we call on the international community to exercise whatever leverage they have on the armed group to join the peace process. Ladies and gentlemen, another important development that will help Sudan in its effort to achieve sustainability of the rule of law, economic growth, and sustainable development took place on 12 October when the government of the United States of America decided to permanently lift the economic sanction imposed on Sudan 20 years ago. The lifting of sanction was a direct result of the progress made by Sudan in achieving peace in conflict areas, collaborating in efforts to achieve stability in the region, and cooperation on countering terrorism. Sudan welcomes this decision and determined to engage in a constructive dialogue to be removed from the United States list of states sponsoring terrorism, which we believe we do not belong to. Further positive steps are needed to strengthen our capacity in the rule of law, and we believe with your cooperation and collaboration with all stakeholders, we shall achieve our goals. I wish to thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sudan. The floor is now for Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would like to thank the Director General and for all the efforts she and her team, whether in Rome or in the field offices, have exerted to keep program delivery on target during 2017, despite the financial challenges. The first year of the implementation of IDLO's new strategic plan 2017-2020 clearly witnessed steady progress towards consolidation and diversification of programs, implementation of operational and human resources improvements, and strategy development. We note with satisfaction the much needed progress made in diversifying the geographic spread of IDLO's programs in Africa. We encourage IDLO to place more focus on the Middle East region in the future, where conflicts and economic crises have imposed unprecedented challenges and have severely undermined the socio-economic development and resilience of some societies. We are pleased to see accomplished most of the recommendations arising from the independent management review and organizational reforms envisaged under the Continuous Improvement Program. We hope that the adoption of IDLO's new employee rules would enhance the performance and capacity of the staff and promote healthy staff management relations. We commend the efforts of the Director General and her team that contributed to the conclusion of the new partnership agreements and memoranda of understanding, mainly with the Ministry of Commerce of the People's Republic of China, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and UN Women. Strategic partnerships are very important, and IDLO has a great potential when it comes to attracting new partners, given that many of its goals and areas of work are cross-cutting. We welcome the expansion of IDLO's membership. New members will hopefully bring about a new political support and better outreach of the organization and its programs. As part of its commitment to comprehensive and homegrown reforms, Jordan is working on pursuing a path of sustainable development and to initialize sustainable development goals into its national development plans while maximizing resource mobilization for meeting its development agenda. We have launched a new 10-year socioeconomic blueprint for the country, Jordan 2025, a national vision and strategy aimed at achieving a prosperous, resilient, and inclusive economy while deepening reform and inclusion. The government has internalized sustainable development goals as part of its Jordan 2025 and will build into its development planning framework through EDPs, the indicators to be developed for tracking progress of SDGs. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. And the floor now is for Turkey.
Thank you, Mr. President. As one of those who have personally involved in the process of the reforms negotiations, I can easily say that it was highly consultative and transparent. I extend my thanks to the IDLO administration and the staff for their invaluable work in this regard. I believe that the process will contribute a lot to the works and the better functioning of the organization. Taking this opportunity, I would like to reiterate our appreciation about IDLO's project initiative towards Syrians in Turkey. I think it would be better to share more information about this initiative with the Assembly. I also congratulate the new member states and wish to stress that their interest in becoming a member of the organization is also invaluable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Turkey. If there are no further intervention in the general debate, we now declare the assembly proceeding closed for today, and it will be resumed tomorrow after the closing of the Partnership Forum. And I would like to invite Director General, Ms. Khan, to say a few words about this afternoon Partnership Forum.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, allow me to thank all the delegations that have expressed their support for IDLO, and in particular for the work that the Secretariat is doing, and it is actually a tribute to my colleagues. In terms of the Partnership Forum, as you know from last year, this is an opportunity for delegations, both members, non-members, and others, to interact in an informal, interactive manner on issues that affect IDLO's work, but more broadly, issues that affect the rule of law. This afternoon, we will open that discussion with a statement by Mr. Fabrizio Hochschild, who will focus on his own experience as a long-term serving UN official, but also the vision of the Secretary General and the UN on the relationship between peace, sustainable development, and the rule of law. That will be followed by a panel on the peace-building experience, the rule of law experience of a number of delegations and experts from the field perspective in terms of what is happening in their own country. And we have the Attorney General of Somalia, Dr. Ahmed Ali Dahir, the Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development of South Africa, the Honorable John Jeffrey, the Head of International Cooperation of the Ministry of Justice of Tunisia, the Honorable Najat Ben Saleh, and His Excellency Wahid Omar, the Ambassador of Afghanistan to Italy, as well as Ms. Mona Rishwami from the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. That will then be followed with another panel on economic development, which will look at the deepening, the relationship between rule of law and economic development, and at some specific issues of how that can be furthered. And that discussion will be led by Mr. Luigi Buttiara from the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. We will also, this afternoon, just after the statement by Mr. Hochschild, there is a message from the Italian Minister of Justice, Mr. Orlando, which we will be presented just after the opening to add Italy's very important perspective on rule of law, sustainable development, and peace. So that is the program for this afternoon.
Thank you, Director General. And before we move to lunch, we have some announcement. And let the Secretariat mention that, please.
Thank you, President. I just wanted to make one very brief announcement about how we are sharing the proceedings, particularly of the partnership forums, with the outside world. Some of you may recall this from last year, and if not, you may have seen this as you were walking in, but just a reminder that there is a social media corner that is available just as you go out on this door on my left. just there, and we very much encourage all participants to go and share your own perspectives about the importance of the rule of law for sustainable development and for sustaining peace. In addition to that, the proceedings of the Partnership Forum are actually being broadcast by Facebook Live. We had a lot of interest, but we know that this is a very busy time for everyone. So for those of you that may wish to share the proceedings with your colleagues in capitals or other people that may be interested, the proceedings will be, the videos of the Partnership Forum will be uploaded, but we also hope that, as in other events, we may be able to get some questions and engagement from the people that follow us on social media around the world and the programs in which we operate, young people, young lawyers, development partners. You also have rather large cheat sheets to encourage you to participate with all the details of the hashtags and our platforms, so encourage you very much to make active use of this. Thank you. Yes, and do you want to? And just one other housekeeping announcement, which is more than a housekeeping announcement, but you may have received the email notification that we are delighted the former president of East Timor, Xanano Guzman, is going to be joining us tomorrow morning at 9:30. We have made some small adjustments to the agenda, but we really could not think of anyone that was more fitting to join the discussions and share his perspective of what it takes to build a nation. And we're also delighted that he's actually going to be talking about the need to promote development as a means to promote peace. So I hope that you will all be able to join us, and please feel free to let other people know, since I think that there will be quite a lot of interest in listening to his own perspectives, experience, and remarks. And I know that we have other distinguished participants like Mr. Hochschild, who were also based in East Timor and know what that situation was like.
Thank you, Judith. Now I would like to invite everybody to the lunch at the sala next to us, and the meeting will resume at 2 o'clock.